What's good, you guys? So we are all ready to go. Hit legs and booty. So I'm often asked, what can you do to help tone your legs, to help build bigger legs, to help build a bigger booty? So I'm actually gonna be taking you guys through bits and pieces of some of my workout today to show you guys my top 3 favorite exercises for getting those legs tight and toned, for building those thighs that you want, for building that booty that you want. So we're about to get it in. So some of the things that I do when I'm on my way to train, I'm already kind of thinking through what I want to do. Now for me, I tend to write out everything that I'm going to do ahead of time. So that way I'm not figuring out or in the gym figuring out like what I want to do, what I want to focus on, or anything like that. I just like to be able to get in there and hop right to it. So I know a lot of you sometimes ask questions like, well, do you plan your workouts ahead of time? Yes, I absolutely do. I never go in and not have a plan for what I want to do or what I want to hit that day, right? Like quite naturally, there might be some things that you want to do that are taken just due to it being busy or machines being used or something like that. But for the most part, I have a pretty firm idea on what's going to take place. Other questions that I get to are like, do I drink a pre-workout? Now, it kind of depends on what the goal is for me. Because there's sometimes when I'm just really struggling energy-wise and I need a boost. And in that case, I'll go for a pre-workout that's more caffeinated, has stimulants in it. Other times, my typical go-to pre-workout is just something to help get me what you hear like a muscle pump. So it kind of just depends on the mood that I'm in for that day, really, on what type of pre-workout that I do drink. I will normally drink my pre-workout about, I want to say like 15 to 25 minutes prior to when I start training. And then I'll go ahead on and make my way to the gym. And then I'll even sometimes be drinking a little bit left of it if I still have some stretching to do or things like that. All right, you guys, so we made it. And yes, it did not take me any time to get here. So I literally live about like 3 minutes away from where I train. And yeah, it's super convenient over here because the nail salon I go to is like right there. The Target that I hit up is not too far from over here. But one thing about my gym, y'all, it is a wing stoplight right next door. And baby, them wings sometimes be killing me. But it's all good. We're about to get in this work and get started. So I always start out each one of my workouts with a warm-up set before I get into my working sets. And this will be with no weight. And this is really for me to make sure that I'm warmed up properly, everything's flowing, to help prevent injury. I find that I'm actually able to go heavier in my working sets if I warm up properly first. So my first warm-up set will be, I only do about one, and I'll do anywhere from like 15 to 20 reps just to get things warmed up, and then I'll hop into my working sets. So when you guys are doing your workouts, make sure you kind of keep this in mind. Don't just hop right in. I know how it can be when you're just looking to get in and get out, but it'll be worth your while to warm up first. One of my go-to movements are hack squats. Now, I absolutely love hack squats. I actually prefer them over other variations of squats because, guys, I suffer from low back problems with my SI. So for me, I'm able to have more support when I do these. I can make sure my back stays pressed against the pad. So these are good ones to do anyway. If you have low back problems and you want more support there, I'm fine that I can go much heavier in these as well. But the thing about hack squats is so many times I see people doing these and the range of motion isn't really where it needs to be. So you want to make sure that you are bottoming out at the bottom of the movement. You'll notice that the platform goes all the way down to the bottom when you're looking at me do these, and you want to make sure you come up smoothly. So just make sure you use a weight that allow you to get back up when you do go down, and you don't run the risk of removing yourself away from the pad when you're doing these and coming back up. So leg press is another one of my go-tos. Common things that I see so many people doing is, again, not leveraging that full range of motion. So I tend to do these in a seated upright position because I share with you guys I have lower back pain. So this for me takes the stress off of my lower back. So if you have back issues too, then you can totally give these a try. I find that they work much better for me. But even with these, I'm making sure that my knees are dropping to the outsides of my chest and then I'm pushing in, okay? And with these two, you want to make sure that you're pushing through your heel. So you should almost feel like your toes can come off of the platform. They don't have to, but that's how you want to kind of focus on that mind muscle connection to make sure that you're really pushing through here. Now, the key here is to make sure that you are keeping the same tempo throughout the entire movement. You don't want to go fast and then slow down. You want to keep the tempo relatively the same throughout, okay? Even in those last few working sets when you're kind of going to failure, because you should in fact be going to failure with each one of these exercises, especially if your goal is growth. So let's talk leg extension. I absolutely love these guys. And I just think I love it so much because I can really feel my quads working when I'm doing these, and you can see that. So one of the things here that you want to make sure you do, I see so many people focusing on just going through these really fast because these do burn when you do them right. But I want you to focus on the return movement when you lower your legs back down, because that's when the real activation comes in, guys, on that eccentric movement. So what I like to do is to come up and then slowly lower back down, okay? Now, sometimes I'll also throw in some pauses at the top to kind of force a contraction when going lighter. But with these, you want to make sure that your quads stay activated the entire time, okay? You should never feel relaxed, even when you're coming down. I know how tempting it can be to just kind of slam the weight down, but if you find yourself wanting to do that, then go lighter on these, because again, it is all about range and activation, not just throwing on weight and seeing how much you can do. So when you're really thinking about building your legs and booty, you have to think about your hamstrings, okay? The back of those thighs, because that is what's going to give you that full, big, thick leg appearance from the side view, okay? So you want to make sure you have a complete package. So do not skip out on hamstrings. One of my favorite exercises to do for these is super simple. It's lying hamstring curls, lying leg curls. You can also do these seated, but for here I'm going to show them lying down. Now, again, same thing with the leg extension. You want to make sure that you are focusing on that eccentric movement. So think about it like this. When you're coming up, you want to slowly lower back down to the bottom, okay? But never fully relax. So the plate should never touch, the weight stack should never touch the rest of the weights, because you want to keep some activation in that. And then you want to squeeze back up and lower back down, okay? You want to keep that activation in the entire time. Now on these, it can be really easy if you don't have strong hamstrings. Let your glutes take over, and in that case, you'll notice like your pelvis lifting off of the pad. If you find that happening, go down and wait, and then focus back on keeping the entire contraction and activation in your hamstrings. Let's talk stretching. So this is one of the most overlooked things that I see so many of you guys do. Yet then you guys complain about being super sore, not being able to walk. So here's the thing. I know how it is to just want to get out the gym when you are done with your workout and you were just like, ooh, I'm ready to get out of here. But take a few minutes to stretch. Let me tell you why. So when you stretch, not only is it going to help you with muscle soreness, but it's also going to help you in your recovery as well. It's going to also help you to prevent injuries. So for a lot of these things that I talked about in this video with range of motion, you might find that when you're trying to do some of this stuff, you just can't. Like you might have tight hips. I know I have super tight hips, which is why I do a lot of stretching with my hip flexors, as you guys can see me doing right now. But if you find that there are some things you can't do, it's probably because your range of motion is limited due to muscle tightness. Oftentimes too, guys, if you have low back pain, that can be attributed to things like tight hip flexors as well. So you really want to make sure that you're spending a lot of time at the end of your workout stretching this out. You also want to stretch out your quads, your hamstrings. Now, I know there's a lot of talk out there on how long you should hold your stretches. Should it be 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds longer? I find that I get the most benefit when I hold these for 30 to 45 seconds, okay? You can go longer just depending if you have really tight muscle groups that you're trying to relax, know that the longer you hold a stretch, the more you're going to relax into it. Now, sometimes, guys, when I've been super tight, just depending on what muscle group it was or what I was doing, my muscles did not fully relax themselves until about 45 seconds in. So you want to kind of still keep that same mind muscle connection even when you're doing your stretching. All right, I know how easy it can be to kind of mentally check out, but you want to pay attention to what your body is telling you. You might find that when you're doing some of these, your muscles still feel super tight and almost like they're trembling and fighting against you. They will relax, but it may just take longer depending on how tight you are. Okay, so have a lot of patience with this. I tend to repeat my stretches 2 to 3 times. I like to also do stretching for my IT bands because that area gets super tight on me as well. And just depending on how advanced you are, you can also decide to go into a quad stretch as well when you're doing these. So then that way you would just kind of reach back and pull your foot up towards you. And that way you can get like your IT band stretching out, your hip flexor, and your quad on that other foot, on that other leg. But again, that just kind of depends on how much core stability you have. Now, at any given point that stretching becomes painful, I mean, like sharp shooting kind of pains, right? It's going to be uncomfortable because you're stretching. Then stop, shake it out, and then end your stretching from there. But I like to go through these 1 to 2 times at the end of my training. Now, other things that I'll do as well, sometimes if it's space and I have enough room to do it and it's not too crowded, I will do some of these stretches inside the sauna, because the heat will help to relax your muscles a lot faster than it would if you're just kind of doing these in a room. So those are just some things to kind of keep in mind. I've even told some clients to go and do these when you're super sore. If you're taking a hot Epsom salt bath, then you can do these, some of these at least, if your bathtub is big enough, inside the tub to help even more, just to get those muscles relaxed. So in some cases, guys, you might find that you want to do these twice a day, and that's totally okay. That's totally fine. You're not going to hurt yourself by stretching. You're only going to help yourself. All right, guys, that is a wrap for our leg and booty day workout. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you want more videos like this, please make sure you comment down below. Also comment too if you're going to try out some of these exercises, throw them into your routine next. I want to hear how they're going and working for you as well. So if you like this video, guys, make sure you go ahead on and give it a thumbs up, and make sure you tap that subscribe button so you don't miss my next body go roundness when they drop. All right, see you guys all in the next video. Bye.